world has changed much since that last visit. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
In 1944, 44 nations met in Washington to create a new world economic order. For the first time ever in over 100 years, the world is moving into a new economic financial system. Up until that point, 60% of the global trade was conducted in the British pound because the British pound was backed by the gold. And even when Britain abandoned the gold standard in 1931, the world kept using the British pound because there was no an alternative to the global financial system at that point. But in 1944, the world realized that it is time to create a new system. And that's where 44 major nations met at Bretton Woods and created the new system that will be based on the US dollar. This is the point when the US economy was the largest economy, but most importantly, the United States had the world's most powerful military to provide that security to enforce that order. If you are creating the new rules of how the world economy is going to look like, you need somebody with muscles that can enforce these rules. And the United States at that point was the only country that could enforce these rules. And to ensure that the global economy works smoothly, the United States created the World Bank and IMF to support the current economies to catch up with the United States and connect them much deeper with the US economies. But before that new economic world order was created, from 1930s up until 1944, major economies collapsed because the British pound was no longer backed by gold, and many economies experienced hyperinflation. And any system goes through multiple phases. There is phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. And currently, we are in the phase 3 before a new world economic order will be established. Canada literally paid a visit to China and told China that we know that we no longer can trust the US system and we are ready to accept a new world order. And in this new world order, there is going to be a completely new economic order, a financial system that is no longer going to work like it has been since 1944. The first phase is the greatest phase. This is the phase when the rules are enforced, everybody is happy about the system, and the economy is growing. And you can see that gold prices have been very stable during this period. There was a spike in gold prices back in early 1970s because the United States realized that we are going to abandon the gold standard, but the world continued using the US dollar. But something happens in early 2000s where the US economy is no longer working. A lot of people don't realize that the 2008 financial crisis literally ended the trust in the US dollars. At least adversaries of the United States no longer trusted the United States because 2008 financial crisis did not just crush the US economy, but rather it crushed the entire global economy. And a lot of investors started to become very skeptical about the United States. Up until that point, they thought that we can simply invest in the US real estate market and prices are never going to fall. And then 2008 happens and the United States realizes the only way to get out of this crisis is to print trillions of dollars to save the global financial system because the global financial system is ultra dependent on the United States. And you can see that gold prices rise from about $200 in early 2000s to as much as $2,000. Gold prices didn't rise 10 times simply because gold became more valuable, but rather the trust in the US dollar evaporated by 10 times. But the United States told the world that you can trust us. Yes, there was a crisis, but we are ready to do everything possible to maintain the current system. The total annual deficit goes from about $1.5 trillion to as low as $441 billion by 2015. Phase 2 didn't actually last long. From about 2018 and 2019, the world realizes that the United States is not serious about the status of the dollar and preserving the value of the dollar, and the United States enter a new period where the United States simply borrows and prints trillions of dollars, and that's when gold prices exponentially grow from less than $1,000 back in 2014 to as much as almost $4,500 by today. So we are in the final stages of phase 3, where the United States dollar is catastrophically losing massive amounts of its value. Don't be surprised if by the end of this year, you are going to see gold prices rising to $7,000, $8,000. There is even a probability that it's going to double by the end of the year to about $10,000. It's not the gold that is becoming much more valuable, but rather it is the US dollar that is catastrophically losing massive amounts of its value because the current world order is coming to an end. Here is what happens at every single phase. In the first phase, everybody trusts you. Everybody wants to do business with you. It doesn't matter whether it's your ally or an adversary or a competitor, because everybody can make money with you since this system is stable, this system is growing. That's why in 1970s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, China and other nations that might not necessarily would like the United States still invested trillions of dollars in the United States because it was basically the best investment possible. Everybody used the US dollar even when the United States abandoned the gold standard, because using the US dollar was the best option, was the most profitable option. In phase 2, your adversaries and competitors start moving away from you because they no longer trust you. That's when China, other nations that don't see the future with the United States suddenly are no longer investing as much in the United States as they used to in the past, because now they're looking at you and they realize that you're printing trillions of dollars. We don't trust you. We're going to sell our investments in your country and we will bring those trillions of dollars to our country. And the final phase is when your allies start to move away from you. And at that point, when your allies no longer trust your system, that's when you know that your system is no longer working. In fact, if you listen to the President of the United States, he will tell you that the current system, or the system that used to exist up until now, was not beneficiary to the United States. If the country that created the system no longer trusts the system itself, how do you expect allies of the United States to trust the system? And Canada is the closest ally of the United States. If you look at Canada, it has a GDP of about $2 trillion and it mainly trades with the United States. Canada imports about $555 billion. Out of that, $302 billion is from the United States alone. So Canada is completely dependent on the United States. The second largest trading partner is China, but from China, they just import a fraction of that. Canada exports $564 billion. The vast majority of these exports goes to the United States. So you can see how dependent Canada is on the United States. So if Canada is moving away from the United States, it basically means it no longer trusts the United States. And that's why it just signed a $1 trillion deal with China, which is the United States' main competitor. And it can lead to a domino effect. When your closest allies abandons you, it sends a message to the rest of the countries and the rest of the allies of the United States that you no longer can trust the United States. So after Canada, you might actually realize that the UK is going to go to China and sign a multi-trillion-dollar deal. Then Germany, then France, then other nations, because they would see that they would sign a much better deal with China than you, especially when the United States right now is threatening European nations with 25% tariff if they're going to stand in the face of the United States to invade Greenland. So the United States is no longer providing the security. Remember, you cannot possibly have an economic order if you cannot back it with a global security. And the US military used to enforce these laws. If you no longer trust the US security, you no longer trust in the US debt, so you're less likely to lend money to the US government. And Canada is one of the largest holders of the US debt at $328 billion, alongside the United Kingdom and Japan. China used to be the largest holder of the US debt back in April of 2024. But at phase 2, your adversaries start losing faith in you and they will start massively selling off your debt. So China essentially sold half of its US treasuries and reduced it down to $750 billion. Now the only countries that are massively holding the US debt are the US allies. Canada and the United Kingdom are Commonwealth countries. So if Canada is going to abandon the US debt, then suddenly the UK is going to abandon the United Kingdom. And if Japan is going to see that the United States just took over Greenland and it abandoned its closest allies such as Canada, the UK, and the European countries, most likely the United States is going to abandon Japan as well. So why would we keep trillions of dollars of investments in the United States? We better bring this money back to Japan, invest it in Japan, build the largest military in Japan, and make sure that we have our own security. Now, the real question comes at the end of the day is that what exactly this means for you. First of all, higher cost of borrowing. When a rich person and a poor person goes to the bank to borrow money, who do you think is going to get a lower interest rate? Of course, the rich person, because when the bank offers you that loan, the bank is thinking about risk and reward. With the rich person, the risks are extremely low because the rich guy is making a lot of money and can easily pay off the debt. And if God forbid something happens, the rich person has assets, he can sell the assets and pay back the bank. Well, the poor person does not have money, and that's why he is going to be offered a much higher interest rate. So the more likely people trust you and want to lend you money, the lower is going to be your average interest rate. So if suddenly other nations, your adversaries and now your allies, nobody wants to loan you money because they no longer trust you, do you think you're going to get a higher interest rate or a lower interest rate? Of course, you're going to get a much higher interest rate. So the cost of borrowing in the United States could substantially rise. That means higher mortgage rates, higher car loans, higher credit card loans, you name it. It is also going to make it much more difficult for the US companies to compete globally. United States used to have 100% tariff or more on Chinese EVs because China essentially manufactures these EVs at a fraction of the price than the United States. And the US allies such as Canada and the European Union would actually impose a much higher tariff on Chinese electrical cars than the US cars. So companies such as Tesla would easily overtake the Canadian market, the European market. But now Canada is completely abandoning that strategy. Canada just brought down the tariff rate on Chinese EVs from 100% to as low as 6%. Do you think Tesla can now compete in Canada when Chinese EVs are being sold at a fraction of the price? And that used to happen across all industries, from smartphones to cars to 5G to software. US tech companies dominated Canada and the European Union because the European Union and Canada, which are closest allies of the United States, used to restrict Chinese companies into their markets but would be much more open to the US companies. But now if they're moving away from the United States, they can literally offer equal opportunities to Chinese companies, which means that now the US companies such as Apple, Meta, Tesla are going to face a real competition in all foreign companies, including the countries who used to be allies of the United States. To compete in this new world order, the United States will continue to weaken the dollar. You cannot compete with other nations on manufacturing when your currency is too strong and building and manufacturing things in your country is simply too expensive. But a weaker dollar is going to lead to higher prices. So you are going to see that prices across all industries are going to rise dramatically, especially asset prices. So on one side, the US companies are going to see real serious competition. On the other side, you are going to see asset prices rising substantially because the dollar will continue losing a lot of its value. So if you think that you're going to have the exact same lifestyle like your parents did or your grandparents did, you have to understand that phase one is essentially over in the US history and we're not going back into that phase. So living on a single paycheck, easily doing business just like it was during the baby boomers since 1944 is no longer going to happen. Phase 2 is also over and we're finally at the end of phase 3. So the world is changing right in front of us. We can't complain about it. It is happening whether you like it or not. And the US dollar soon is no longer going to be the global reserve currency, which means that every single year, or I would even say that every single month, the dollar will continue losing massive amounts of its value. In the past, you had this option that you could become an investor and make a lot of money. But now there is no other option but to be an investor. You don't want to be holding a lot of your cash in US dollars, but rather you want that money to be invested in the right assets so that as the US dollar continuously loses its value, your wealth is growing on the other side. And that's why I put together a free investing guide that will help you step by step to start investing. Literally, this is for free just to help you get started and understand what exactly is going on in the market. The link is in the description.